No pressure. A towering figure. Okay. 1. Following a Supreme Court case, a fairy tale took hold in the UK this year. It wants us to believe there are biological men and women. But sex isn't biological. Sex is biopolitical. Or necropolitical. Some sex bodies are allowed to live and reproduce, while some other bodies are left dying. Anyways, we're going to be going with the more vintage-sounding biopolitical tonight. The biopolitical man knows his position is all fiction. He murders everyone who dares to say so. He cleans his hands from blood in the basin of biology. He never leaves the stage of war, the stage of home, the stage we're on, the symbolic order of the stage of which he will die defending. The idea of man and woman are appearing on the empty stage inside his skull. Nobody's in the audience. The hall remains an abyss. We can hear water dripping. The same water that splashes inside the character Ham in Samuel Beckett's Endgame. Drip, drip, drip. It's good sound design. Whoever you are, you're hired. Now, women who claim they were born women, who deny they're being made into their sex, are idiots. These women are dense enough to lend credibility to the supremacy of biopolitical men, singing along to how there's something natural about this order, something biological. In the spirit of Sophie Lewis, to say I'm a woman-born woman is to participate in the building of groundwork for fascism. It's one wine glass away from saying only white women are women. A trans woman who wants to play the game of I was born a woman needs to consider twice, girl. Trans women aren't women. Nobody's a woman. In how white, straight, cis, rich men are biopolitical men. Helsinki Sue once remarked how you can't become a man, since the definition of a cis man is someone who isn't aware of having become one. You just are. Such unawareness we know from white supremacy. Both race and sex are ideologies beyond redemption. As long as there is biopolitical sex, the idea of healthy manhood stays forever out of reach, as far off as a, say, positive rendering of white power. The sex binary is foundational for patriarchal societies, just like nuclear family. Sex and family inform and recreate each other along with racialization. Gender ideals are white ideals for an ideal family. Do you want to sing it with me? Gender ideals are white ideals for an ideal family. The end is hard to start again. Gender ideals are white ideals for an ideal family. Good. More hires. 2. I've lost my desire for passing. It pains me to join a demonstration chanting, "Trans women are women." It's a refrain without a melody. Recently, I stumbled upon the infamous interview of Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie from 2017, in which she insists trans women are trans women, not women, because we have lived with male privilege. She's been feeling that garbage fire, I guess, ever since. But revisiting Adichie's interview reminded me of how I tend to relate most to toxic portraits. Condemned as a hurtful trope, Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace includes a transsexual character which I felt the most kinship. Her abysmal failure to keep herself composed gave me a best friend who's just as fucked up as I am. Adichie was singing to the oldest tune in the transphobe songbook, the one that claims you can't become a woman, although everything we know about sex says otherwise. Nevertheless, her words do speak to my experience. I kind of agree with her. After decades of unlearning, male privilege still resonates within me. I was raised to take space and to not question myself. I was made to colonize, or I was made for loving you, baby. But is it really my male upbringing, or is it growing up in a family that was like an improv theater group high on coke? Or is it the total lack of care for transgender children? Who knows? Like jealousy, sex is often a front for hiding some other issue. Having been ushered to live as a male doesn't result in a lesser woman because there isn't such a thing as a whole woman. I'm as broken as all the other females trying to get along in this deeply disagreeable world forced upon us by biopolitical men and their girlfriends. Every sane woman, myself included, is it for statistical purposes only. As much as I prefer gender neutrality, you can't escape sex. Like God, it affects our everyday lives. I could never unmark Christianity of my body. I live in Christ's kingdom, wipe my ass like a Christian, make love like one, and make enemies like one. Something as powerful as sex or God is real, no matter your desperate science or atheism. Sex isn't over and God isn't dead. The best you can do is to not take sex seriously, but that might cost you your life. That's the price you pay when attitudes become forms. See? I'm such an ass kisser. 3. If you didn't get that joke, just get out. Your career is over. Has been for a while. You're in Helsinki. Really? 3. I wouldn't recommend transitioning to anyone. You'd be better off living in the closet. Lots of folks way worse off than you have managed an okay life that way. You cruise, evade, switch, and live in the place Lauren Berland called the meanwhile. I remember Telda Ham saying in her podcast once how being trans is stupid. Back then, I was too much of a naive girl to get it. But she is right. Transitioning is stupid. Leading an openly trans life doesn't solve anything for you. Nobody buys your act. The applause will never come. Lights won't go up for you on this stage that belongs to the head of the family. Passing as a woman is similar to white passing. I'm not surprised people want to try out either kind of passing for their own safety. I'd rather choose invisibility, but it's a little late for that now, don't you think? Why do you need people to know you're a woman? You could be loud in other ways by focusing on your work, finally, or caring for children. And if you still think you need to live as a woman, then by all means, put on the clown pantsuit. Cross off dozens of countries from your travel plans after receiving the F marker on your passport. Lock yourself in with a queer community that is tethered off from consensus reality. Face the health risks from hormone therapy and minority stress and face them alone. Cry every time you skim the terrific headlines where trans is a new and scary phenomenon in this amnesiac eugenic epoch, while Jules Steele Peterson teaches you about sex changes, trans lives, and trans children from over 100 years ago. Cry, and cry like only a white woman can when she realizes she can victimize herself for attention. Stay at home on a sunny day for the cost of getting yourself together suddenly seems untenable. Witness how other trans women sound like twinks with a flu, which is exactly how you sound like and why you prefer not to speak in public. Feel forever jealous for the few trans women born with cis-passing looks or the ones who can afford all the surgeries. lose touch with your family and turn it into a self-published pity party memoir. We're looking for funders. Kill your dreams of a family of your own because referring to yourself as a mother at playdate is a stretch too far, even with your erratic imagination. Keep reminding yourself how the state of Finland was castrating women like you until recently and might just as well pick it up again. Forget about trans joy. Because what about the 99% of your night when you're not on the dance floor high on ketamine, surrounded by bubbly trans femmes or protective, sexy trans masculines? What makes you think life could be improved by tinkering with your sex? Are you even remotely aware of how insane that sounds like to practically anyone who isn't trans-pilled? Honey, you must accept transitioning as something you do not to heal yourself, but seeing that you are a fucking moron who refuses to head sound advice. Yeah. I'll take it. Not too proud to beg. What if all trans people would get the treatments they need before puberty, or really whenever? What would trans even mean anymore? Would it be like taking pills for blood pressure? With full acceptance, trans culture would cease to exist. No more radical white trans theorists saying trans is Africa. No trans flags taken down. No trans characters forced into gaming. No mind-blowing trans-specific fucking. No cute trans children banned from girls' softball teams. No trans mutual aid. No alarming statistics of trans suicides to victimize us. Some other group of people demonized, tokenized, and made inhuman instead of us. By allowing trans children to undergo life-saving medical treatment, and more crucially, by believing children to know themselves, without coercion into a normative binary sex, transphobic people would get exactly what they want, the erasure of trans visibility. By narrowing and denying our existence, you sustain us. We are visible only because you don't want to see us, because all you want to see is biopolitical, racialized order made of men and women. This order leads to fascism, which needs the fiction of sex as biological and unmalleable. Fascism requires immortal malehood that kills time, resists any transformation of our relations, and denies the death of the chosen nation by forcing death upon others. Put differently, following Nadia Boali, fascism looks to deny temporal change, culminating in genocide as its ritual. 4. I live a puzzled life that isn't solved by asking about family. I draw a line between myself and the staged play of family. I'm not emotionally invested in the production anymore. I have sympathy, yes, for my fellow actors, like my mother who shows up every day for the endless rehearsals. She climbs up on that stage, hoping someone in the audience would cheer her when she forgets her lines and messes up the scene. But the seats are empty, enveloped by a deep darkness, stripped off from any expectations of the lights going up for the actors. My mother is standing alone on an unlit, empty stage like a Beckett character. Looks left, looks right, sees nothing, quiet. The sound designer better create an ambience for the mother, like a sonic backdrop to mask her doomed sense of rhythm. Drip, 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 splash. There's nobody behind the mixing desk. I walked away. Not so much from my family, but the family play. I still love her, the person I might refer to as mother. I just won't do family with her. I call her sometimes, but I don't call her mother. The theater of the West has always centered the family. The modern stage became an education center for the audience to never forget their duty of growing more soldiers and nurses for the state. Without everyone starring in the familial reproduction of family, of biopolitical men and their subordinates, our society would be no more. Show after show, night after night, I get up on the stage attempting to free it from familiality. A family-free stage is a place where things come to an end without horror. On my stage, nobody's afraid of emptiness or that dripping sound, drip. The fascist cult relies on trying to deny death by refusing others a natural death. Family is a power tool for this immortality project. Family means reproduction, für immer. Repetition without difference, über alles. Is it a boy or is it a girl? The queen of my stage, Antigone, was sentenced to death by the king. She hung herself before she was executed. Antigone reminds us of the fundamental importance of making a choice out of an impossible situation, of living with death without it being forced upon you. This acceptance of life's limits, of life being finite, is what fascists, Zionists, and biopolitical girls and boys want to deny. It's no coincidence that the Trump administration has picked trans people as a threat to family. We are a threat. Or we are the counterweight. It's either our lives or the biopolitical fiction. As much as I dislike the term, I want to end this by thinking what trans joy could mean. So what is it? Holding hands with Anoni while NATO drown bombs me? Check your references. For me, that's kind of old, like 2017. Oh my God, age shows. What a way to end this. It was just nice and now, anyway. For me, trans joy is the end of families, queer or straight, and the beginning of relating differently. I will feel trans joy when all your children can decide for themselves who they are and how. Trans joy takes place when no woman hides from the sins of the empire behind her white femaleness. Trans joy is total liberation from the eugenic, racialized project of the gender binary. The gift I'd like to offer is the rejection to be a woman, even after having worked myself to death over becoming one. There's nothing there to salvage in being a woman. Trans women letting go of womanhood set an example for everyone else. It could light the way out from the dark stage of biopolitical sex. End scene, girls. Thank you.